Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about nipples. I had a listener email me and ask me to talk about nipple play. Um, Nipple play is one of those things that is really, really hot when it's done well and really, really annoying when it's not. Um, I don't know about everybody else, but this is just how I find it. All right. So, nipple play is all about the focusing on just this one singular erogenous zone. And it can be a very intense experience. And for men, it tends to be something where if their dick is hard, it can speed up the process towards coming. The okay, so I have noticed that when playing with women's nipples, unless it's in sort of a BDSM sort of setting, playing with the nipples with a good suction or good pressure is going to be more effective. But with men, it's almost like the harder you go, the better. I don't know if that's real or if that's true or if that's just what it is in the case of some of the people I've played with. But pressure is not as finicky for a man as it is for a woman. For a woman, if you go too hard, well, like it can kind of zap her out of whatever erogenous play she was in. And I think it's because of the fact that their nipples are so tiny and compact in comparison to, ours, that it it doesn't impact them as much. So with women, please pay attention, guys. We don't, unless your woman specifically says bite them, be careful. Be careful with the teeth, okay? Um I personally have pierced nipples, and that is because I like the jewelry. um I like the way that they feel pierced. I like the fact that they can create more stimulation just getting hard when you have them pierced. I love the way my pierced nipples feel. Now, um, let's talk about playing with a man's nipples. When you are playing with the man's nipples and you're trying to arouse, it's it's actually a good technique to sweep under the pec, like below the nipple, because there tends to be a lot more nerves, like at the lower portion of what would be considered the breast, just under the areola. And that is actually a soft sweep there or a lick there can actually be the kind of thing that sets off the tingles down your spine. Um, I love that area. I love playing near the nipple, but not on the nipple, because it sort of makes the anticipation greater when you actually get to the main event. The use of my husband actually likes tongues and teeths and the biting and the squeezing. He really enjoys rough play on his nipples, especially when he's about to come. Um, Girls, if it can make it happen. I'm just saying. Um, my the nipple area for men is, fairly much smaller than it is, in comparison to like mine, which is, I'm going to say, about the circumference of like a medium navel orange. That's my areola size, not my nipple size. My nipples tend to be a little bit bigger than a pencil eraser. Um, and I breastfed two children, so I am not as sensitive as I once was, which is probably why I got the piercings, so that they'd be a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more in the game. Um, and I do find that areola play is kind of a little bit more effective than actual on nipple play. So that's just for me. Um, my thoughts on the matter with women. I know that a good suction with no teeth is it basically it almost like it draws a line from your clit up your body to your nipple. And every time you tug, it tugs that clit feeling. And it is so nice when they're getting it right. And so not cool when they're not. So my husband likes to play this game where he'll just flick back and forth very quickly across the top of my nipple. And for about 2 seconds, that's awesome. By about second 15, I'm ready to punch him in the mouth because it's just too much it's too much chaos. It's too much confusion. It's too much. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be feeling here. And this is just getting entirely too. Ah. So, but I have found that men actually like it when you thrum their nipples, when you just flick them back and forth. And I don't understand why. For me, it's so like it actually starts to hurt the lower back, like because you're so tense that you're like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Um, so that's what I'm talking about when the differences between the genders is really interesting when it comes to this kind of physiological thing. But I do know that I love nipple play. I love it when, and I've had a lot of men that need you to play with their nipples while they're trying to get hard because it's an extra stimulation that focuses them on getting hard. And especially in activities like, when you're in a party and there's so much distraction going on and not all of it is focused on sex. So it can be very distracting and that can put men off their game. But the little nipple flicks, the little nipple rubs, that can actually help them center in on the pleasure and bring their cock to life. It's so helpful to know what your partner likes and experiment with things that they may not really know. A good nipple pinch and tug for a man is really, really hot. Um, Licking the underside of a woman's breast, so hot. And the thing is that unless you take some time to explore your body and what you like, you're not really going to be able to communicate that to someone else. And it kind of helps when you're in these situations where everybody's trying to have a good time to guide people down the roadmap. If you know something is going to annoy you, put it out there. Say, if you bite me, I'm going to lose focus. I'm not going to be able to play. So please don't bite. Or if, whatever it is, if you put it out there, everybody gets to have a good time, most especially you, because this party scene is a lot of mutual gratification, but it's a little bit selfish too. Well, a lot of it selfish. It's a lot about I'm going to go find as much pleasure as I possibly can and use it and enjoy it and not feel guilty about it. Isn't that strange? I'm not going to feel guilty about getting pleasure. What? So, when you're in these situations, bring your roadmap. Tell people what you like. Let them experiment on you. And when you define something you don't like, let them know. And then store that information in your memory banks. Anyway, just a thought. Let's talk about the type of events and parties that are typically thrown in the lifestyle. There are munches, which is kind of I don't know if that's a term specific to FET, but munches are basically kinksters of all types and arrays that get together to share a meal in a public location. Everybody stays dressed, everybody pays their own way. There's nothing, it's literally just let's go eat and talk and find community. Then there are meet and greets. Meet and greets tend to be held near hotels, if not in hotels, so that if you meet, you greet, you have connection, you can find a bed to participate in. Those are basically the same concept as a munch, but more geared toward hooking up. You're supposed to go there and find people and flirt with people and possibly, if the vibe is right, find a hotel and complete the transaction. Then there are house parties, which are parties thrown in people's houses that are, um, depending on who's throwing the party, the guest list may be very selective. House parties are they are thrown obviously in a house, which makes them a little bit more spread out, a little bit more, there's plenty of places to go, but not maybe a whole lot of places to fuck. So the good side is that you have places to socialize. The bad part is that maybe there's not enough room for everybody to have as much fun. Then there are hotel parties. Hotel parties tend to be a couple of connected suites, multiple beds. Everybody's crammed into a certain amount of area. And when you have a limited amount of square footage, it is important that the party thrower limit the guest list, because if your party becomes too overwhelming, there's no place for anyone to play. There's no place for anyone to sit. There's no place for anyone to socialize. I actually went to a hotel party where it was 2 rooms, like 2 suites. They were connected off of it was in the doors opened into the outside. So there was a walkway between the 2 of them. So you could go back and forth and pretty much be unseen by any other hotel guests. But there was a lot of partial nudity going on. And that party was great because there were 4 rooms where people could fuck and multiple people were fucking on every single bed. But one time I went to that party again and there had to have been over 200 people there. And 200 people don't fit in that kind of square footage. There were people sitting outside. There were people on the stairs to the next level. And you could not even walk inside. You could not sit down anywhere because people were literally stacked from the walls. It was insane. Every single bed had at least 12 people on it. It was I stayed maybe 5 minutes because I'm too claustrophobic for something that packed. My anxiety was out of control. So, hotel parties can be great if you're keeping the number of guests coming to smaller, a smaller crowd. So that way everybody can move around, mingle, find places to be. The other party, the other type of party is a hotel takeover party. A hotel takeover party is basically where a group takes over an entire floor and they usually rent out additional rooms beyond just the party rooms. Hotel takeovers are kind of awesome because you have this entire floor and you go from room to room, and there are so many people there, and you can have huge crowds coming in and have plenty of places for everybody to play. And usually the people will set up theme rooms so that way each one has like this its own, like one hotel takeover that I went to, they had a Symbian room, and then they had a massage room, and then they had set up like almost like a harem room, like a tent room. It was a lot of fun. At the time, I wasn't really playing like I do now, and we didn't do a lot. We played with Simeon, and that was fun, but I'm not entirely sure if the crowd there was there for all the right reasons. Anyway, um at least we weren't. We were literally there just to check it out. So, um but that's okay too. If you want to go to one of these parties, you've paid your admission, you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, but maybe you're just watching. Maybe that's just what your kink is. I've had plenty of people who go to parties just to watch and absorb the vibe, absorb the show, be part of it tangentially. It is perfectly understandable that not everybody at the party plays. And I mean, that's basically my husband's whole role when we go to parties is he doesn't play, he watches me. He absorbs the vibe, he watches the show, and he spends so much time cataloging in his brain what's going on at that party so he can relive it. And then I get on here and I recap it. So that's a couple of different versions of the same story if you know. So I honestly, there are so many types of parties. And then of course, there are clubs. You can go to clubs all over the place. Um, I know that there's a huge one in Vegas. And then, of course, there are always BDSM dungeons everywhere that you can check out. But as far as lifestyle clubs go, it depends on the type of building and zoning that they have as to whether or not they're allowed to have play on the premises. And some of them don't have play on the premises. Some of them are just located near hotels so that you can go meet, greet, make out, play some fun games, but then go back to the hotel to actually lose your clothes. So I am speaking from my own personal experience when I talk about the types of parties that are out there. And there are, like, obviously, there are some parties that are themed, but they're still kind of in the same genre. It's either a hotel takeover, a hotel party, like a suite party, um, a house party, munches, meet and greets, clubs. And every single one is going to have its own crowd, its own vibe, its own set of, I don't know, rules. But the most important, as everybody here knows, consent. I don't know if I can say it enough. It's really, really, really important. So, just one more time for you. Okay, so I got an email from a listener. let's say Max. I just got to say, I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and I've been listening to you quite a lot lately. My wife loves your stories as well. I got her listening to you while she was at work, and now when we both love the sound of your voice, and you sound so sexy. Me and my wife are trying to get into the lifestyle, and we really like it. It turns us both on, something new to experience with each other. And she doesn't want to do anything without me, which is nice. And I'm glad she feels this way. Now, I'm a heavier guy, and my wife does not care so whatsoever. But if we're going to try out the lifestyle, I'm curious if the outlook of guys like me in the lifestyle. Is there any advice you can give on that? Also, I do have a question now. You refer to yourself as a bigger woman, which is totally awesome, how free you are with yourself. But have you ever ran into a heavier set man at these parties, or the or any experience with the heavier set guys? Okay, I'm just going to read you my response because I think I was pretty succinct. Um so here goes. Men have a tougher road to hoe in the lifestyle. There are more men than women in the lifestyle, and women can be choosier. That being said, attitude has a lot to do with how women react to men. When a man is fun and flirty, it gets me comfortable and intrigued. Vulnerable and scared can set me off. Confident and enjoying themselves is hot. I have been with men of all sizes in every way, from short to tall, thin to thick, endowed and not so much. F- My advice is to find a party. Don't go there to play, just go to watch. If things develop, feel free, but it's not your expectation going in. You need to feel the energy. If the energy is not welcoming, try a different party. I love the lifestyle, but there are a lot of high school elements. There's a lot of popular and clique behavior. Find a group that you're going to jive with. Meet couples, go on dates, find a crew. This is so incredibly important. Um, I like to say that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I am a cup of tea and somebody's going to drink me. The same is true for men. Now, the problem is in the lifestyle, there are a lot of bulls. So if you are in a swap situation, maybe going to couple parties where it's just couples and no bulls, you'll have a little bit more opportunity. Um, Going to just straight up parties is going to present you with a lot of single men who are there to be bulls and not a lot of unicorns show up. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, a unicorn is a woman, usually a bisexual, who likes to play with married couples. As you can tell from the name, they're a lot more rare than bulls. So you're going to find that at most parties, men outnumber the women. But here's the greatest part about women: we can go more times than you. I can have so many more orgasms than you and be able to rebound fast. Not that I'm bragging, I'm just saying biology's awesome. So find a crew, find people that you gel with and that you can create opportunity with. Because believe me when I tell you, I have been to so many different parties, and there are parties where most of the men are heavier set men. And then I've been to parties where most of the men there are bulls. And the married men don't get a lot of action because it's basically a bull and vixen party where the stags stand around and watch. If you're looking to play together, you're probably looking for a swap party. Swapping is where you meet a couple and you mutually decide that we're going to switch partners. This is an opportunity to like check out the apps too. Field, Cassidy. These are places where you can meet people. SLS, you can meet actual couples that are looking to swing together and maybe create a swapping situation. Or, you know, there's so many ways to do the lifestyle that you just dip a toe, see what feels right, see what looks comfortable, see what feels, and walk in to any party like you have the right to be there. I can tell you that I have done this, okay? I walked into a party and there was a girl there who was creating content for her OnlyFans. She was fit. Um, she was beautiful, had a big set of tits. She had a nice ass. She was thin, but not too thin. She was playing bareback, and because she quote unquote had an allergy to latex, and and she was filming, and she was all these things that are sparkly, shiny diamond. She was unicorn to the highest degree, glitter coming off her horn and everything. And I literally began to pout because I was like, who's going to want to play with me when that is here? When she's in the room. I got so much play that night. I mean, seriously, as soon as I got over my bad attitude and started to focus on having a good time and stopped focusing on the fact that I felt less than her, I started to have a great time and realized that, you know what? Somebody is going to drink this cup of tea. And it may be harder for men because, you know, even if I am a bigger woman, I come with a massive set of tits, a big old ass, and a vagina. And no matter what, pussy's going to win. So, um, find I understand that it's harder for men in the scene, but it's doable. It's out there. Somebody's going to drink that cup of tea, and you just got to hunt. Just got to look for it. Just got to find your tea drinker, if you will. I hope that helped. I'm not sure if it did, and I'm not sure if I went down a rabbit hole of things that didn't really matter to anyone, but don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to you and be the best time you can be. I think that will do it. Thank you all so much for listening. And as you can probably tell, I really, really enjoy the emails and the followers on my Insta and all those things. I am so grateful that you guys are all listening and that you're getting something out of it. And if you have any questions or want to talk about anything specific, hit me up. I'm here. My email address is pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.